First contact. The horizon hung in space like a silver needle against the vast canvas of stars. Captain Maya Chen stood on the observation deck, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling nebula that filled the view screen. After 3 years in deep space, the exploration vessel had ventured farther than any human ship before it. "Captain, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the fourth planet." Lieutenant Kaido's voice came through the comm. "Definitely artificial, but nothing matching known patterns." Maya straightened her uniform. Analysis. Advanced technology, but erratic, almost like they're having power fluctuations. Plot a course. Standard first contact protocols, Maya ordered. As the ship changed direction, she felt the familiar flutter of anticipation in her stomach. Humanity had encountered 7 alien species in the 50 years since achieving faster-than-light travel. All had been peaceful, if sometimes bewildering, exchanges. The planet grew larger on the view screen as they approached. Azure oceans and landmasses covered in purple vegetation. But what captured Maya's attention were the ships in orbit. Dozens of them, elegant curved vessels that reminded her of manta rays, their hulls scarred and damaged. "They appear to be refugee vessels, Captain," said Commander Okafor, her first officer. "Sensors indicate thousands of life forms aboard. Many require medical attention." Maya made her decision quickly. Open a channel. All frequencies. After a moment of static, the view screen flickered. The alien that appeared had iridescent blue skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Its facial structure was almost arthropod-like, with mandibles that clicked nervously. "I am Captain Maya Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. We come in peace and offer assistance." The alien's mandibles moved in what seemed like surprise. "I am Vexilla, commander of what remains of the Xenovari fleet. Your offer is unexpected." Within hours, Maya found herself in the Horizon's conference room facing 3 Xenovari representatives. Their story unfolded gradually. They were refugees fleeing from an expansionist empire called the Dominion, a coalition of species who believed in genetic superiority and viewed the Xenovari as evolutionarily deficient. "The Dominion will follow us," Vexilla explained, mandibles clicking in distress. "They always do. We sought only to hide, to find a new home beyond their reach." "How many of your people survived?" Maya asked. "Approximately 30,000. All that remains of a civilization that once numbered billions." Maya exchanged glances with Commander Okafor and Dr. Rice, the ship's exobiologist. The decision before them was momentous. Earth had avoided interstellar conflicts thus far, but helping the Xenovari would almost certainly change that. "We'll need to contact Earth government," Maya said finally. "But in the meantime, we'll provide whatever medical assistance and supplies we can." Vexilla's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "You would risk conflict with the Dominion to help strangers." "It's what humans do," Maya replied simply. Over the next several days, the Horizon's crew worked tirelessly. Shuttles ferried medical teams to the Xenovari ships. Dr. Rice quickly determined that most human medications were compatible with Xenovari physiology, and the ship's fabricators worked overtime to produce the necessary supplies. Maya observed the interactions between her crew and the aliens with pride. Despite the language barriers and biological differences, a rapport was developing. Ensign Jackson had even created a translation algorithm that was gradually improving communication. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from Earth Command," Lieutenant Kaido reported one morning. "They've authorized continued assistance to the Xenovari and dispatched 3 ships from the defense fleet." Maya felt relief wash over her. "When will they arrive?" 3 weeks, Captain." That relief was short-lived. Less than 48 hours later, long-range sensors detected a small group of ships entering the system. "Dominion scouts," Vexilla confirmed, mandibles chattering anxiously. "Their main fleet will not be far behind." Maya called an emergency meeting with her senior officers and the Xenovari leadership. "We need to prepare. Where do we stand with the colony site?" Commander Okafor pulled up a holographic map of the planet's surface. The initial settlement is underway. The environment is compatible with both human and Cenovari physiology with minimal adaptation. The Dominion will not negotiate, Vexilla warned. They believe in their genetic destiny to rule. They consider compassion a weakness. Then we'll have to show them it's a strength, Maya replied. Lieutenant Cato, what are your thoughts on our tactical options? The young tactical officer hesitated. Standard doctrine would suggest retreating until reinforcements arrive. But, he paused, the Cenovari ships are in no condition to outrun the Dominion, and we can't evacuate 30,000 refugees with our limited capacity. So we fight, Maya concluded. The Dominion scouts entered orbit 7 hours later. Their ships were angular and predatory, bristling with weapons. The transmission they sent was brief and coldly efficient. Inferior species, surrender the Cenovari or be eliminated. You have 1 planetary rotation to comply. Maya's response was equally brief. The Cenovari are under our protection. We suggest you reconsider your position. The scout ships maintained orbit, scanning, assessing. Maya used the time to implement her hastily devised strategy. The Horizon wasn't a warship, but it carried a suite of scientific equipment that could be repurposed. Mining lasers were recalibrated for defensive purposes. Sensor arrays were modified to create interference fields. They're confused by our behavior, Vexilla observed, watching the sensor readings of the Dominion ships. They expected either immediate surrender or a direct attack. Humans rarely do what's expected, Maya replied with a grim smile. We're going to use that to our advantage. The Horizon launched a series of probes toward the Dominion ships. Not weapons, but scientific instruments broadcasting on multiple frequencies, creating a chaotic electronic signature. As the Dominion ships moved to intercept them, the Horizon ducked behind the planet's moon. They're splitting up to search for us, Lieutenant Cato reported. Just as you predicted, Captain. Launch the second wave, Maya ordered. More probes shot out, these containing a mixture of communications equipment and holographic projectors. To the Dominion sensors, it would appear as if multiple ships were appearing and disappearing across the system. Captain, Dr. Reyes called from the science station. I've been studying the data we gathered on the Dominion ships. Their hull composition suggests sensitivity to certain radiation frequencies. Nothing harmful to humans or Cenovari, but potentially disruptive to their systems. Maya smiled. Recalibrate our deflector array. Let's give them a taste of human ingenuity. When the first Dominion scout located them, the Horizon was ready. The deflector array pulsed, sending waves of carefully tuned radiation toward the enemy vessel. Its systems flickered and weapons went offline momentarily, just long enough for the Horizon to target its propulsion systems with the repurposed mining lasers. The disabled ship drifted, and the remaining scouts retreated to a defensive position. They're regrouping, Commander Okafor observed, and likely calling for reinforcements. Then we need to work faster, Maya said, turning to Vexilla. How quickly can we get your people to the surface? With your shuttles and our remaining functional craft, perhaps 3 days. Maya nodded grimly. Then that's what we have. 3 days to prepare for whatever comes next. As evacuation efforts intensified, Maya found herself working alongside Vexilla, coordinating the movement of refugees. The Cenovari commander watched with undisguised amazement as human crew members worked past exhaustion, some going 20 hours without rest. Why do your people push themselves so hard for us? Vexilla asked. We have nothing to offer in return. Maya paused, considering her answer carefully. Humans have a long history of both cruelty and kindness. We've learned that in the face of oppression and hatred, compassion isn't weakness. It's the only thing that saves us from becoming like those we fight against. On the third day, as the last refugees were being transported to the surface, the Horizon's sensors detected multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Dominion battle fleet, Lieutenant Cato confirmed. 27 vessels, heavily armed. Maya looked around at her exhausted crew, then at the planet below where thousands of Cenovari had begun establishing their new home. Earth's reinforcements were still weeks away. The odds were overwhelming. "Send a message to Earth Command," she said quietly, "and then prepare all defensive systems. The Horizon will hold the line until every last refugee is safe." Commander Okafor stepped closer. "Maya, we can't possibly." "We can," she interrupted. "And we will." She turned to the communications officer. "Send a message to the Dominion fleet. Tell them if they want the Cenovari, they'll have to go through us first." As the massive Dominion ships approached, Maya remembered something her grandmother had told her long ago. "What makes us human isn't our strength or our intelligence. It's that when faced with darkness, we choose to light a candle instead of curse the night." The human factor. The Dominion fleet arrayed itself in a perfect crescent formation, 27 warships against the lone Horizon. From the bridge, Captain Maya Chen watched the tactical display with outward calm that belied the tension knotting her stomach. "They're hailing us again," Lieutenant Kaido reported. On screen, the alien that appeared bore little resemblance to the Cenovari. Its skin was pale gray and stretched tight over an elongated skull. 6 yellow eyes blinked independently of one another. "I am High Commander Vorkath of the Dominion. Your interference is illogical. The Cenovari are genetically flawed. Their continued existence contaminates the galactic gene pool. Stand aside or be eliminated." Maya stood, shoulders squared. "This is Captain Chen. We've heard your demands and reject them completely. The Cenovari are under human protection." The High Commander's eyes narrowed. "You are an unknown factor, humans. Our intelligence suggests your species is primitive, only recently achieving interstellar capability. You cannot hope to prevail." "That primitive assessment might be your first mistake," Maya replied, nodding to Kaido to cut the transmission. Commander Okafor approached, datapad in hand. "Evacuation is 95% complete. The colony's emergency shelters are operational, and we've established a rudimentary planetary defense grid using modified equipment from the Cenovari ships. And our special project. Dr. Rice says it's ready, but untested. It's a significant risk, Captain." Maya nodded grimly. "At this point, Commander, risks are all we have left." The Horizon's chief engineer, Rowan Sharma, had been working without sleep for 3 days, using theoretical research from Earth's quantum physics labs and components salvaged from damaged Cenovari technology. His team had constructed a prototype shield system unlike anything developed before. "It's based on probability manipulation," he explained during the final briefing. "Rather than creating a conventional energy barrier, it alters the quantum probability field around the ship. Incoming weapons fire may simply miss." "May?" Commander Okafor questioned. "The math checks out," Sharma defended. "But we've never had the opportunity to test it in combat conditions." Maya surveyed her senior staff, noting the exhaustion etched into their faces. "We're out of time for doubts. Implement the shield system and prepare for engagement." As the senior staff dispersed to their stations, Vexela approached Maya. The Cenovari commander's mandibles clicked softly in what Maya had come to recognize as a sign of distress. "My people are monitoring the Dominion communications," Vexela said. "They speak of making an example of your vessel, of ensuring that no species ever again aids the unworthy." Maya placed a hand gently on the alien's shoulder, a gesture she knew the Cenovari had adopted from human interaction. "We knew the risks when we chose to help." "Why?" Vexila asked, all 4 eyes focused intently on Maya. "Why risk everything for strangers?" "Because someday we might be the ones who need help," Maya replied. "And because facing bullies is the right thing to do, regardless of the galaxy they come from." The first assault came precisely as Maya had predicted. The Dominion ships launched a coordinated barrage of energy weapons, expecting to overwhelm the Horizon's defenses in seconds. "Probability shield activated," Sharma reported. The bridge crew watched in amazement as the incoming fire seemed to bend around the Horizon, missing by meters where it should have scored direct hits. "It's working," Kaito exclaimed. "For now," Sharma cautioned. "The system is drawing enormous power. We have perhaps 20 minutes before we need to recharge." Maya nodded. "That's our window. Execute attack pattern Chen Alpha 3. The Horizon surged forward, weaving through the Dominion formation with a maneuverability that belied its size. As they passed each enemy vessel, they deployed specially modified probes, not weapons, but sophisticated jamming devices designed to disrupt the Dominion's sensor and communication networks. "They're confused," Kaido reported, watching the enemy ships begin to break formation. "Their coordination is faltering." Maya smiled grimly. Phase 2. Deploy the asteroid mining equipment. One of the Horizon's primary missions had been to test new deep space resource extraction technology. The massive grappling arrays and cutting beams, designed to capture and process asteroids, were now repurposed for warfare. As the Horizon swept past one of the smaller Dominion vessels, the grappling systems locked on, metal tendrils attaching to the enemy ship's hull. "Contact established," the operations officer reported. "Cutting beams active." The Dominion vessel's engines sputtered and died as the Horizon's industrial equipment systematically disabled its power distribution nodes. Before the enemy could respond, the Horizon had moved on to its next target. 3 down, Okafor counted. "But the rest are adapting to our tactics." The probability shield flickered, power reserves depleting faster than anticipated. A Dominion energy blast struck the starboard section, sending tremors through the ship. "Damage to decks 4 through 7, reported an ensign. "Emergency teams responding." Another hit rocked the ship. The bridge lights dimmed momentarily before emergency power engaged. "Probability shield failing," Sharma called out. "Conventional shields at 60% and dropping." Maya gripped the arms of her command chair. "Evasive pattern Delta. Lieutenant Kato, target their lead vessel's weapons array with everything we've got." The Horizon twisted in space, its conventional weapons firing in a concentrated burst at the Dominion flagship. Several shots connected, causing visible damage, but the enemy vessel continued its advance. "Captain," Dr. Reyes called from the science station. "I've been analyzing their communication patterns. They're using a quantum entanglement system similar to what Earth was developing for our weather prediction satellites." Maya's eyes widened. "Could we disrupt it?" "Possibly," Reyes nodded. "If we modify our deflector array to generate a specific subspace harmonic, we might be able to temporarily collapse their quantum field." "Do it," Maya ordered. "Commander Okafor, prepare to coordinate with the ground defenses. When their communications drop, I want every available weapon targeting their propulsion systems." As Reyes worked feverishly at her console, Maya opened a channel to the colony. Vexella's face appeared, backdrop showing the newly established command center. "We're about to attempt something that might disable their coordination," Maya explained. "Be ready to fire everything you have when I give the signal." The Xenovari commander's mandibles clicked rapidly. "My people are asking how they can help. Many have volunteered to fly our remaining damaged ships as diversions." Maya shook her head. "No more sacrifices. Hold your position and protect your people." "That's an order." Another blast struck the Horizon, more powerful than before. A console exploded, sending an ensign tumbling to the deck. Medical teams rushed to the bridge as smoke filled the air. "Shields at 30%, Sharma reported, his voice steady despite the chaos. "Hull breaches on decks 9 through 11. Emergency force fields holding." "Ready, Captain," Reyes announced. "The deflector is modified, but this will drain our remaining power reserves. We'll be vulnerable immediately after." Maya nodded grimly. "Send the activation code to the colony. Tell them to fire exactly 20 seconds after we initiate the pulse." She took a deep breath. "Engage." The Horizon's deflector dish glowed brightly as it projected a precisely calibrated subspace field toward the Dominion fleet. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like dominoes falling, the enemy ships began to drift out of formation. "It's working," Kaido confirmed. Their communications are scrambled. Their ships are operating independently. Now, Maya ordered. The Horizon fired its remaining weapons. Simultaneously, the cobbled-together defense grid on the planet's surface activated, sending dozens of energy beams slicing through space toward the disorganized Dominion fleet. 3 enemy ships lost propulsion immediately. 2 more suffered catastrophic system failures. The remaining vessels, suddenly finding themselves without coordination and under attack from multiple vectors, began to break formation. "They're retreating," Okafor announced, disbelief evident in his voice. Maya watched as the Dominion ships regrouped at a safe distance. Her ship was damaged, shields nearly depleted, and weapons largely exhausted. If they attacked again in force, the Horizon wouldn't survive. Long minutes passed as both sides assessed the situation. Finally, Lieutenant Cato spoke. "Captain, we're being hailed." High Commander Vorkath's face appeared on screen again, his yellow eyes narrowed with what might have been respect. "Your tactics are unorthodox, Captain Chen. We did not anticipate such resistance from a single vessel." "As I said, you underestimated us," Maya replied, keeping her voice steady despite the pain from a gash on her forehead. "And you underestimated what humans will do to protect others." "Perhaps," the Dominion commander acknowledged. "But this is merely a delay. Our reinforcements will arrive within days." "As will ours," Maya countered, hoping her bluff wasn't transparent. "And now that we understand your tactics and technology, the next engagement won't go any better for you." There was a long pause as the alien studied her. "You would continue to fight for these Xenovari, even knowing the cost?" "Every time," Maya said without hesitation. "That's what makes us human." Another long pause followed. "Curious. Your species requires further study before a final determination is made." The Dominion commander's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. "We will withdraw temporarily. But know this, Captain Chen of Earth, the Dominion does not forget." The transmission ended, and the bridge crew watched as the Dominion fleet slowly moved away, jumping to faster-than-light speed one by one until only empty space remained. The silence on the bridge was broken by a spontaneous cheer that quickly spread throughout the ship. Maya allowed herself a small smile before turning to Commander Okafor. "Status report. Significant damage to multiple systems. 15 injured, no fatalities. Repair teams are already at work, but will need a proper space dock for full restoration." Maya nodded, relief washing over her. "Open a channel to the colony." Vexela's image appeared, surrounded by other Xenovari. Their mandibles clicked rapidly in what Maya now recognized as their expression of joy. "You did it," the Xenovari commander said. "You drove away the Dominion." "Temporarily," Maya cautioned. "They'll be back. But by then, Earth reinforcements will have arrived, and we'll be better prepared." "My people have voted unanimously," Vexela announced. "We wish to formally request alliance with humanity. We offer our knowledge, our technology, our loyalty." Maya smiled. "I'll convey your request to Earth government, but speaking personally, I believe this is the beginning of a valuable friendship." Hours later, as repair crews worked throughout the ship, Maya stood alone on the observation deck. The planet below, with its purple vegetation and azure oceans, now held the beginnings of a colony, a symbol of what could be accomplished when different species worked together. Commander Okafor joined her, offering a steaming cup of coffee. "Earth Command finally received our transmission. 3 warships are en route, along with medical vessels and construction crews. They've also formally recognized our actions and approved continued support for the Xenovari." Maya accepted the coffee gratefully. "And the Dominion. Intelligence suggests they're reassessing their approach to this sector. Your bluff about understanding their technology may have bought us more time than you realized." "It wasn't entirely a bluff," Maya smiled. "Dr. Rice and the Xenovari scientists are already collaborating on improvements to our defensive systems." Okafor leaned against the railing. "The crew is calling you a hero." Maya shook her head. We all did what was necessary, what was right. The Xenoverri don't understand it, Okafor said. They keep asking why we would risk everything for strangers. Maya gazed at the stars, countless points of light stretching to infinity. Perhaps that's the greatest lesson we can teach as we venture further into the galaxy. That true strength isn't measured by dominance, but by the willingness to stand up for others. She took a sip of her coffee. That compassion isn't weakness. It's the most powerful force in the universe. As if to emphasize her point, a small shuttle launched from the planet's surface, its lights blinking a pattern that needed no translation. Thank you. Maya smiled. In the vastness of space, surrounded by wonders and terrors beyond imagination, humanity had found not just new allies, but a confirmation of what they had always hoped, that the qualities that made them human, compassion, courage, and the willingness to stand against injustice, were not just parochial virtues but universal strengths. And that perhaps was the greatest discovery of all.